that they could not help anyone else. The line had been drawn. They had to cut it off. 400 families. The need is real. The ministry that we do is vital. The opportunity to share God's love is profound. The last point I want to make comes from the passage in Luke. Luke includes the words of Jesus to give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your laps. For the measure you give will be the measure you get back. He puts those words right in the middle of his teaching against judging others for what they do. Wow, I thought that was tremendous. Isn't that amazing? How many times do we want to beat people up over the head and say, you need to give, you got to do that, how come you're not doing more? Why aren't you putting... Right in the middle of Jesus talking about don't judge others and take that speck out of the... if you're going to take a speck out of somebody else's eye, you've got to get the log out of your own eye first. In the middle of all that is where he talks about giving. And that it will be given to you, overflowing, pressed down, running over. We're not trying to lay some guilt trip on anyone here so they feel compelled to give. We're not trying to manipulate anyone here in any way. What you do today, your pledge to God, is simply that. Your pledge to God. God has called us through the prophets, his apostles, and his own Son to test him on this one point. Give, and it will be given unto you, are the words of Jesus. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse so that there may be food in my house, and thus put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. See if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing blessing, are the words of God's prophet, proclaiming it to be the word of the Lord himself. And through the testing of this ministry, you glorify God by your obedience to the confession of the gospel of Christ, and by the generosity of your sharing with them and with others, are the words of Paul. Today, we are presenting to God our pledge to give more of ourselves to him. These pledges are between you and God, as I've said over and over again. It's not something, we don't have an x-ray machine in the back where we're going to look and see what you said. We're not going to open the envelopes and see what you wrote down. But what we do want you to do is to take time to pray, to think, and to meditate on what God has called you to be and to do, the blessings he's already given you, and the more that he wants to give you. Do remember that God blesses all the way from the creation of the nation of Israel through our own day. He blesses others so that they may be a blessing to those